nice whisper read is because naturally, a good Shakespearean plays nowadays can often be quite tiring to listen to, especially since a lot of the language is hard to fully interpret and understand without analysis. So while I'm reading this, you won't really be able to understand everything going on. So you will be disengaged, and it will truly be a background reading. Whereas I always find when ASMR artists like do whispered reading of stories, I am listening to the stories and I'm paying too much attention to truly fall asleep. So I love Hamlet. I have been in a production of Hamlet in grade 9. I was like a theater kid in high school, I guess, like I did the plays. So I enjoy the play. I studied it in English in grade 12. But today I'm going to be reading the first act, whisper reading, slowly. Maybe some hand sounds and whatnot also going on. But it will truly be for like just relaxation, background, for sleep. To really just sort of calm you down at the end of your day. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoy. If this video goes semi-well, then I'll do the rest of the acts later on, but I'll start with Act 1. This will definitely be my longest video, but I'll get right into it. Who's there? Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Long live the king, Bernardo. He. You come most carefully upon your hour. 'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco. For this relief much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Have you had quiet guard? Not a mouse stirring. Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste. I think I hear them. Stand ho! Who's there? Friends to this ground, and liegemen to the Dane. Give you good night. Oh, farewell, honest soldier, who hath relieved you. Bernardo has my place. Give you good night. Hola, Bernardo. Say, what is Horatio there? A piece of him. Welcome, Horatio, good Marcellus. What has this thing appeared again tonight? I have seen nothing. Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it. Tush, tush, 'twill not appear. Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears, that are so fortified against our story, what we have 2 nights seen. Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. Last night a ball, when yon same star that westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one. Peace, break thee off. Look where it comes again. In the same figure like the king that's dead. Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio. Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio. Most like it. It harrows me with fear and wonder. It would be spoke to. Question it, Horatio. What art thou that usurped this time of night together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heavens, I charge thee. Speak. It is offended. See, it stalks away. Stay. Speak. Speak. I charge thee. Speak. 'Tis gone, and will not answer. How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it? Before my God, I might not believe this without this sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes. Is it not like the king, as thou art to thyself? Such was the very armor he had on when he the ambitious Norway combated, so frowned he once when, in angry parle, he smote the sledded poleaxe on the ice. some strange eruption to our state. Good now, sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mark for implements of war, why such impress of shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week, what might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Who is it that can inform me? That can I. At least the whisper goes so. Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by his sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands which he stood seized of to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gauged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras, had he been vanquisher, as by the same covenant and carriage of the article designed. His felled Hamlet, now Sir young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise that hath stomach in it, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us by strong hand and terms of compulsatory those foresaid lands, so by his father lost, and this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post-haste and romage in the land. I think it be no other, but e'en so. Well may it sort that his portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so like the king that was in his question of these wars. A mode it is to trouble the mind's eye in the most high and palmy state of Rome. A little ere that mightiest Julius fell, the graves stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber on the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands was sick almost a doomsday with eclipse. And even like precurse of fierce events as harbingers preceding, still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it, through it blast me. Stay, illusion, if thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast aborted in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of death of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus. Shall I strike at it with my partisan? Do, if it will not stand. 'Tis here, 'tis gone. 'Tis here, 'tis here, 'tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence, for it is, as the air, invulnerable, and our vein blows malicious mockery. It was about to speak when the cock crew, and then it started like a guilty thing. Upon a fearful summons I have heard, the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in a sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein. This present object made probation, it faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever against that season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated. The bird of dawning singeth all night long, and then they say no spirit dares stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, then no planets strike. So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks o'er the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet, for upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty? Let's do it, I pray, and I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently. Well, there was scene one. Also, sorry, I'm probably butchering a bunch of these words, but it's okay. Anyways, on to scene two. Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us be fitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral, and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale of weighing delight and doyle, taken to wife, nor have we herein barred your better wisdom for half, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. Now follows that you know young Fortinbras holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with a message importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father, with all bonds of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. Now for ourselves, and for this time of meeting, thus much the business is, we have here rid to Norway uncle of young Fortinbras, who, impotent and bedrid, scarcely hears of this his nephew's purpose to suppress his further gait herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions are all made out of his subject, and we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, full demand, forebearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power to business with the king more than the scope of these delated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. In that all things will we show our duty. We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is it, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes? That shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The heed is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst that thou have, Laertes? My dread lord, your leave and favour to return to France, from whence, though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation, yet now I must confess, that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again towards France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon. Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius? He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laboursome petition, and at the last upon his will I sealed my hardest consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go. Take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it all thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son, little more than kin and less than kind, how is it that the clouds still seems it so particular with thee? Seems, madam, nay it is. I know not seems, 'tis not alone my inky cloak could mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected behaviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play, but I have that within which passive show, these but the tappings and the suits of woe. 'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these morning duties to your father. But you must know your father lost a father, that father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some turn to do obsequious sorrow, but to preserve an obstinate condolement in a course of impious stubbornness, 'tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be, and is as common as any, the most vulgar thing to sense. What should we, in our peevish opposition, take it to heart? Fie, 'tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, the reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried from the first course till he that died today. This must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you for your intent, in going back to school in Wittenberg. It is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here, in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son. Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us, go not to Wittenberg. I shall, in all my best, obey you, madam. Why, 'tis a loving and fair reply, be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart, in grace whereof no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the kings rouse, the heavens all brew it again, re-speaking earthly thunder. Come away. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all these uses of this world. Fie on it. Fie on it. I'm gonna stick with fie. I don't know. Fie on it. Fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows the seed. Things rank and gross in nature possesses it merely that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2, so excellent a king that was to this Hyperion, to a satire so loving to my mother, that he might not deem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember why she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown? But what if it fed on, and yet within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue. Hail to your lordship, I'm glad to see you well, Horatio. Or do I forget myself? The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever. Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you, and what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio Marcellus, my good lord? I am very glad to see you. Good evening, sir. But what, in faith, make you from Wittenberg? A truant disposition, good my lord. I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do mine ear that violence to make it truster if your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant, but what is your affair in Elsinore will teach you to drink deep ere you depart. My lord, I came to see your father's funeral. I pray thee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding. Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon. Thrift, Horatio, the funeral banked meats, did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen the day, Horatio, my father. Methinks I see my father. Where, my lord? In my mind's eye, Horatio. I saw him once. He was a goodly king. He was a man, take him for all in all. I shall not look, sorry if you can hear my stomach, I shall not look upon his like again. My lord, I think I saw him yesternight. Saw who? My lord, the king, your father. The king, my father. Season your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you. For God's love let me hear. 2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch in the dead fast and middle of the night, being thus encountered, a figure like your father, armed at point exactly, cap a pie, appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked, by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me, in dreadful secrecy, imparted they did, and I wish them the third night kept the watch, where, as they had delivered both in time form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like. But where was this, my lord, upon the platform where we watched? And did you not speak to it? My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock grew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away and vanished from our sight. 'Tis very strange. As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true, and we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it. Indeed, sirs. But this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight? We do, my lord. Armed, say you? Armed, my lord, from top to toe, my lord, from head to foot. Then saw you not his face? Oh, yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up. What, looked he frowningly? A countenance more in sorrow than in anger, pale or red, nay, very pale, and fixed his eyes upon you most constantly. I would I had been there. It would have much amazed you. Very like, stated long, while one in moderate haste might tell 100, longer. Not when I saw it. His beard was grizzled, no, it was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable silvered. I will watch tonight, perchance 'twill walk again. I warrant it will. If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you whatsoever else shall hap tonight. Give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves, so fare you well upon the platform. 'Twixt 11 and 12 I'll visit you. Our duty to your honor, your loves as mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms, all is not well. I doubt some foul play would this night where come. 'Tis then, sit still, my soul, foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes. Well, that was scene 2. On to scene 3. My necessaries are embarked, farewell, and sister, as the winds give benefit, and convoy is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you. Do you doubt that? For Hamlet and the trifling of his favour hold it a fashion, and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primary nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more. No more, but so. Think it no more, for nature crescent does not grow alone, enthuse and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward surface of the mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor cautel doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear his greatness weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of his whole state, and therefore must his choice be circumscribed unto the voice and yielding of that body, whereof he is the head. Then, if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he may in his particular act and place, may give his saying deed, which is no further than the man voice of Denmark goes withal, then weigh that what loss your honor may sustain, if with too credent ear you list his songs, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection. Out of the shot and danger of desire, the cherished maid is prodigal enough. If she unmask her beauty to the moon, virtue itself escapes not calumnious strokes. The canker calls the infants of the spring, too oft before their buttons be disclosed, and in the morn and liquid dew of youth, contagious blastments are most imminent. Be wary then, best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself repels, though none else near. I shall the effect of this good lesson keep, as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles, like a puffed and reckless libertine himself, the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed. Oh, fear me not, I stay too long, but here my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace, occasion smiles upon a second leave. Yet here, Laertes, aboard for shame, the wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory. See thou character, give thy thoughts to tongue, thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought is his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast, and their adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. But do not dull them thy palm with entertainment of each new hatched, unfledged as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France, of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief, in that neither a borrower nor a lender be. For loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night, the day, thou canst not be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing, season this in thee. Most humbly do I take my leave, my lord. The time invites you. Go, your servants tend. Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you. 'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it. Farewell. What is it, Ophelia, B hath said to you? So please you something touching the Lord Hamlet. Marry well be thought, 'tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous, if it be so, as so 'tis put on me. And that in way of caution I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly, as it behoves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth. He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me. Affection? Boo, you speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstances. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them? I do not know, my lord, what I should think. Mary, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby, that you have ta'en these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or, not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, running it thus, you'll tender me a fool. My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion, aye, fashion you may call it, go to, and hath given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven. Aye, springes to catch woodcocks, I do know, when the blood burns, how prodigal the soul lends the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise, as it is a making. You must not take for fire from this time. Be somewhat scanter of your maiden presence, set your entreatments at a higher rate than a command to parley, for Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you in view, Ophelia. Do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth have you so slander any moment leisure, as to give words or talk with Lord Hamlet. Look to it, I charge you. Come your ways. I shall obey, my lord. Alright, that was scene 3. There are 5 scenes in Act 1, so we are past halfway. Sorry if you can hear my scrolling. I was just looking to see how much more there winds his droughts of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpets thus bray out the triumph of his pledge. It is a custom, aye, merry is it, but to my mind, though I am native here, and to the manner born in a custom more honoured in the breach than the observance, this heavy-heated revel, east and west, makes us traduced and taxed of other nations. They keep us drunkards and with swinish phrase, soil our addition, and indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our attribute. So oft it chances in particular men that for some vicious mole of nature in them, as in their birth, wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the overgrowth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and forts of reason, or by some habit that too much o'erleavens the form of plausive manners, that these men carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery or fortune's star, the virtues else by they are pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault. The dram of eel doth all the noble substance of a doubt to his own scandal. Look, my lord, it comes. Angels and ministers of grace, defend us. Be thou a spirit of health, or goblin damned. Bring with thee airs from heaven, or blasts from hell. By thy intents, be thy intents wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shake that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet King, Father, Royal Dane. Oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, pierced in death, have burst their cerements. Why this sepulchre, wherein we saw thee quietly inurned, hath opened his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again. What may this mean? That thou, dead corse, again in complete steel revisitest thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we fools of nature so horridly to shake our disposition, with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls. Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do? It beckons you to go away with it, as if some impartment did desire to you alone. Look with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it. No, by no means. It will not speak, then I will follow it. Do not, my lord. Why, what should be the fear? I do not set my life in a pin fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again. I'll follow it. What if it tempts you towards the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of the cliff, that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assumes some other horrible form, which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it. The very place puts toys of desperation without more motive into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea, and hears it roar beneath. It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee. You shall not go, my lord. Hold off your hands. Be ruled. You shall not go. My fate cries out, and makes each petty artery in this body as hardy as the Naaman lion's girt nerve. Still am I called. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heavens, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say, away. Go on, I'll follow thee. He waxes desperate with imagination. Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him. Have after, to what issue will this come? Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. Heaven will direct it. Nay, let's follow him. myself, alas, poor ghost, pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, I am bound to hear. So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear what? I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burned and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks depart, and each particular hair to stand on end, like quills upon the fretful porpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh list! If thou didst ever thy dear father love, O God, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural. Haste me to note that I, with wings as swift as mediation of or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge. I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Leith Wharf. Wouldst thou not stir in this? Now Hamlet here, 'tis given out that, sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is, by a forged process of my death, rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life, now wears his crown. O my prophetic soul, my uncle, I, that incestuous and adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, O wicked wit, and gifts that have the power so to seduce one to his shameful lust, the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. O Hamlet, what a falling off was there for me, whose love was of that dignity, that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved, thou lewdness court in a shape of heaven, so lust thought to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed, and pry on a garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon. Upon my secure hour, thy uncle stole, with juice of curse to have been on in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment whose effects hold such an enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it occurs through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth posset and curd like eager droppings into milk. The thin and wholesome blood, so did it mine, and most instant teeter barked about, most laser-like with vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Thus was I, sleeping, by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossom of my sin, unhoused, disappointed, unannaled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. O horrible, most horrible! If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest, but howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glow worm shows the matin to be near, and gins this ineffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet. Remember me. Oh, all you host of heaven, oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold my heart, and you, my sinews grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee, I poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee. Yeah, from the table of my memory, I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth and observation copied there. And thy commandments all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman, O villain, smiling damned villain, my tables meet it as I set it down, that one may smile and be a villain. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are now, to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn it. My lord, Lord Hamlet, heaven, secure him, so be it. Hello, ho, ho, my lord. Hello, ho, ho, boy, come, bird, come. How is it, my noble lord? What news, my lord? Oh, wonderful. Good, my lord, tell it. No, you'll reveal it. Not I, my lord, by heaven, nor I, my lord. How say you then? Would heart of man once think it, but you'll be secret. I, by heaven, my lord. There's nearer a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an errant knave. There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this. Why, right you are, I the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part, you as your business and desire shall point you. For every man has business and desire, such as it is, and for mine own poor part, look you, I'll go pray. These are but wild and whirling words, my lord. I'm sorry they offend you heartily. Yes, faith, heartily. There's no offense, my lord. Yes, by Saint Patrick, but there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost, let me tell you, for your desire to know what is between us, or mastered as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars, and soldiers, give me one poor request. What is it, my lord? We will never make known what you have seen tonight. My lord, we will not. Nay, but swear it, in faith, my lord, not I, nor I, my lord, in faith. Upon my sword. We have sworn already, my lord, we have sworn, my lord, already. Indeed, upon my sword, indeed. Swear. Ah, boy, say'st thou so? Art thou there? Trupany, come on, you hear his fellow in the collarge. Consent to swear, propose the oath, my lord, never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword. Swear. Ikeubik, then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword, never to speak of this that you have heard. Swear by my sword. Swear. Well said, old mole. Canst work I the earth so fast? A worthy pioneer. Once more remove, good friends. Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange. And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in all your philosophy. But come, here as before, never, so help you mercy. How position on, that you as such time seeing me, never shall with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase, as well we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and if they might, or such ambiguous giving out to note that you know aught of me, this not to do. So grace and mercy at your most need help you. Swear, rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is, and what so poor a man as Hamlet is, may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing shall not lack. Let us go together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint, oh cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together. Well, there you have it. That was Act 1 of Hamlet. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of essentially whispering gibberish. And I hope you guys like the new background. I moved home from school. My exams are over. Sorry, that's why this video is later than, a week after my last, because I had 5 exams in 5 days and then moved home. But now I'm home and I have a recording setup here now, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry if I butchered any of the pronunciation, and I'll have another video coming out soon that will be a more general sound assortment. I was thinking of doing like Canadian sounds, I'll tap on some maple syrup and a hockey stick, stuff like that. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Also, make sure to, this is a long outro, make sure to like and subscribe, please, to the channel to help us grow, and feel free to check out my TikTok in the description box below, where I just post shorter clips of triggers, not stuff that's on my YouTube. It's different content. For the most part, there's some YouTube clips, but yeah, if you want to check it out, please do so.